Welcome to Top of the Key, where we spotlight the best in the WNBA on and off the stat sheet. I'm Nikki Fargas, and today we're talking about grit, hustle, and game-changing stops. Defense may not always make the highlight reel, but it wins championships. So who's locking it down this season? Carolyn Peck and Krista Blanc are standing by to break down the league's elite defenders and who's leading the race for Defensive Player of the Year. Welcome, ladies.
Good to be here.
All right, let's talk about some D right now. A positionless defender. Let's start with Napheesa Collier.
Well, Napheesa Collier plays on one of the best defensive teams in the league, and she stands out. Her presence is definitely missed when she's not on the court, and what she's able to do is not only defend ball screens because of her agility and her ability to move and switch onto guards, but also she's not afraid to be physical and really aggressive inside. She gets on the boards. She can block shots. Napheesa Collier just does everything defensively.
I think she's so deceptive for me because I look at her as such a finesse, beautiful shot, as such an impressive offensive player that I don't think of her a lot of times as such an incredible defensive player, but her numbers are all you gotta look at because rebounding, block shots, steals, she's involved in so much of their D.
As we talk about rebounding, blocks, steals, we've got to talk about A'ja Wilson, the defensive anchor, an elite rim protector for the Las Vegas Aces.
She's it for me. I mean, when it comes to defense, she has to be one of the toughest players to have to be matched up against. Everybody lifts their games to as high a level as they can when they know they're going to be paired up and having to not only guard A'ja, but then have A'ja guarding her. She's third in rebounding right now, first in blocks, and second in steals. She's leads in stocks, which are steals and blocks, almost just under 5 per game. I mean, it's just remarkable what she does.
Well, and with the Aces playing undersized right now, she's the major backstop of the defense, and the guards can really pressure out on the perimeter because they know they've got A'ja Wilson behind her.
Yeah.
And thinking about guards, let's talk about a defensive general, a vocal leader, and that's Natasha Cloud. I think she has done a phenomenal job of just setting the tone defensively for New York.
Oh, Natasha Cloud was a great get. I mean, in every team that she's been on, she has been really the head of the snake defensively. And she does that for New York. I think one of the areas that helped New York win their championship last year and puts them in great contention this year is that they have Natasha Cloud to start their defense. When you can start with your point guard, bring in the pressure, being the nightmare for any opponent to start the defense, I think Natasha Cloud, she's that person.
Yeah, think about that. She starts the defense, which means she's also starting the offense after she's just taken the ball from
right.
her, right? So she's down the floor and she's looking, who she's going to get it to. She really is, she spearheads everything for them.
For the Seattle Storm, I mean, she has become one of the league's most feared shot blockers, and that's in Ezi Magbegor. Let's talk about how she brings such toughness for the Seattle Storm team.
Yeah, 82 blocks last year on the season.
Yeah.
And one of her earlier games this year, I mean, she's just a handful of block shots. She makes other teams change what they want to do offensively. Her presence, her length, she's quicker than you might think also. She's got really good footwork as well. Her timing, it's just instinctual, but she is really a presence in the paint.
Well, and she's the third youngest player to get to 250 blocks, and she has had a block in every game this season. I don't understand when Ezi Magbegor's in the lane and you go in there, if she's there, pass.
Yeah.
I think as we're talking about Seattle Storm, we also got to talk about Nneka Ogwumike, one of the most fundamentally sound players. She doesn't gamble. She just gets stops on the defensive side of the basketball.
Yeah, and fairly undersized to an extent as well. I think when you have players like that, I think they list her around 6'2", but they have learned how to adjust to that. Whether you're a little player that's had to adjust or you're an undersized post, you have figured out a way to get the rebounds to make it happen. Her efficiency is ridiculous, and her rebounding ability is spot on.
Well, remember, Nneka came from Stanford University, which means that she's very smart. And one of the key areas that make you a great defender is understanding angles. And Nneka is one of the best at understanding angles and dictating what she's going to allow her opponent to do, not be at their mercy. And her footwork She gets down in a stance. She's very disciplined with her defense, and I think that's what makes her so good.
Well, another nightmare on the defensive side of the basketball is Gabby Williams, also with the Seattle Storm. She can guard multiple positions. She creates havoc. She gets in the passing lanes. How great has she been thus far?
So good. She's leading the league right now in steals, just under 3 per game. The wingspan, her quickness, her anticipation, right? Hands out, passing lane, just her instincts are so good.
When you got a guard that is getting stocks, that steals and blocks, 3.25 a game. I mean, that's incredible. I think the thing that's most impressive about Gabby Williams is her energy. I mean, she is constantly running the floor. She doesn't give up on a play. If Seattle turns the ball over, it's Gabby Williams that is going down and getting it back.
Yeah, I love the fact that Gabby Williams has really showcased how athletic she is, but also how poised she plays as well. Carolyn, Krista, are there any additional players who we should discuss when we're considering Defensive Player of the Year?
Let me tell you, a player that has never been on the all-defensive team that shocks me
Yes.
is Skylar Diggins.
Yeah.
I think Skylar Diggins is kind of like a Natasha Cloud at the point or the head of Seattle's defense. She brings that tenacity, that energy. She's a gnat. She constantly moving, beating you to your spots. I think that Skylar Diggins is making a case for that this season.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm still shocked that she was not never on the all defensive team.
Yeah.
Because I think about we look at the numbers and they matter because that means you're being consistent at playing and doing what you're doing at your best. But I think about those players that when I was playing, who would I not want to be in front of me trying to guard me? And when I think of players like that, I mean, there's a wide list of them, but I think of Azurá Stevens for LA. I mean, she's an incredible shot blocker as well. Another one of those players that's going to make you change what you want to do and not put you in the lane.
And I think also for Minnesota, you got Alana Smith.
Yeah.
And I think that having both she and Fee on the floor at the same time for Minnesota is a nightmare. I know that when the Aces played Minnesota, and I'm going back and going through the scout and looking at how many contested shots were contested by Alana Smith because the energy that she brings, another one of these versatile players that can play all over the floor.
And thinking about versatile players that can play all over the floor, let's turn our attention to Kayla Thornton. I think she is one of those blue-collar enforcer. She's a player that brings a lot of toughness on the floor, and she can also guard multiple positions as well.
And the thing about Kayla Thornton, she kind of reminds me, and I'm going to bring up Jackie Young also for the Aces because she's the kind of player that has to sometimes match up against the best player on the other side and then also be expected to average double-figure scoring. And Kayla Thornton's doing that, and so is Jackie Young.
You know what? Those two players, really all of these players, remember when you first days of camp and coach would tell you, get on the floor, dive on the floor. That's what all these players do. But specifically, Kayla Thornton is one of those players that's flying out of bounds to save a possession or to get a steal or to get out in the passing lanes in deflections. Jackie does that as well. She's got to be the defensive force for the Aces.
One of the things that has been a common thread through all of the conversations that we had surrounding Defensive Player of the Year is that they play with a lot of heart. They play with a lot of intensity, and they're very, very good at what they do all the time. They don't take a possession off. And when you think about defense, obviously it's not as sexy as offense. But I want to thank Carolyn and Krista for this deep dive into the defensive backbone of our league. The hustle that we talked about, the intensity, the IQ, it is what separates the good teams from the great ones. As the season heats up, keep your eyes on those players making the difference where it counts most on the defensive end. I'm Nikki Fargas, and I will see you next time on Top of the Key.